The current world population stands at about 8.3 billion as of Friday, 21st of March 2025. According to the most recent United Nations estimates, of all these 8.2 billion, over 94% believe in a God, in a supreme spirit, or in a deity as the real creator. There is a fatal spell blinding billions today if you are one of these 94% of the world population. Are you a victim? Are you safe? Don't be too sure. Come follow our exposure to the conclusion and review this video many times, because we shall be hitting the high spots. Names and rituals, words, all hold intrinsic power. Heka. This intrinsic power is the one that alters and maintains a form of reality. We call it spell. We know in our book we have reviewed a lot about Jesus, for example, as an example of a spell. Did you know that the name Jesus, which is common in Christianity today, actually did not exist until about 500 years ago? In fact, the letter J does not even exist in the Hebrew, Latin, or Greek. There was no letter J in any language prior to the 14th century in England. The letter did not come and became widely used before 17th century. The God you think you know is not the real creator, all-knowing creator, but a deity. A deity, by definition, is something that you give prayer to, something that you obey, something that you love, something that you worship, like Lord Ganesha. It's a goddess or nature. So in our book, as we deal with Jesus and his power, we know and we realize that it's a spell, gospel. What is an example of a spell? Akitoa uchawi, kuroa, kuroya, goloya, kuponya, mapapelana, agbaafa, kuroga, kulosa ndoki, kosala mbeli moko, uposa chipeidi, sane ablaxas, posa umlingo, hekau, words of power. A spell is a spoken or a written formula with magical power used to invoke a supernatural effect or a supernatural being, perhaps at times for protection. It is recited, it is loved, it is worshipped, it is feared. Rediscover today the heresy of certainty, a skull-cracking revelation. In this video, we are looking at tearing through the veils of the ignorance with the claws of truth. The most insidious violence ever inflicted upon humanity is not war nor greed, but the brainwashing of billions into believing that they have been able to shackle the unshackable, to name the nameless, to know the unknowable, to cage the uncageable in petty dogmas and flimsy scriptures. Religions, philosophies, ideologies, all are rabid wolves in the flock of humanity, thought as well as knowing on the carcass of mystery and calling it divine revelation. The real creator is nameless, yet organized faith as a slaughterhouse of curiosity has force-fed billions with lies as sacred meat, then demands that the billions thank it for the meat. God loves you, they tell you. God has a plan, they tell you. God is watching, they say. These are not truths, but mental handcuffs forged in the furnaces of fear. To worship a named deity is to bow down to a hallucination, is to kneel before a mirror and call your own reflection holy. How was this spell engineered that the 84% of the 94% of the 8 billion people fall for? Sometimes the spells are beneficial for protection, maybe for the deceased who had died and now in the afterworld, looking for afterlife. But at times, these spells, when used to a deity, and you pray, and you say words, prayers, song, music, you are activating these spells. The problem of all this is that to many, God, Jesus, Allah, Brahma, Spirit, or whatever is thought of as the unknowable. yet is just a deity. And they are now causing billions to be bound and to be blinded into worshipping these nefarious gods, thinking that they are engaged with the real creator. If your God has a name, if your God is a spirit, if your God has titles, he or she is a deity, and believing in him or her is sure proof that you are under his or her spell. Specifically, the Abrahamic religions and traditions have deceived billions into worshipping an idol, a mental idol at least, one that is simultaneously physical and formless, loving yet wrathful, omnipresent yet localized, in sacred texts, in sacred temples, with a sanctuary or hall of holies. The theological contradictions in the Bible, in the Torah, in the Quran, expose the artificial nature of these religions and their constructs. In the end, what is worshipped is a mental construct, a manufactured deity whose shifting descriptions reflect the inconsistencies of humanity and those that were very imaginative in creating this date and emblazoning and promoting this date, rather than the true nature of the cosmos and that which is beyond. For example, do you know that the Bible is a spell book and the mental image of its God fits a human male or a king, a deity which is an idol that casts a spell of belief of the believer, so that the believer thinks he or she knows the real unknowable creator. The Bible tells us that there is one who looks like a bit like a man. He has arms, Isaiah 59 verse 1, eyes, 2 Chronicles 16:9, ears, 2 Kings 16:19, feet, Genesis 18:4, the back, Exodus 33:22-23, a waist, Ezekiel 1:27, lips, tongue, and neck, Isaiah 30:27-28, hair, Daniel 7:9, Revelations 1:14. Over 85 people in the Bible claimed to have seen this God, and they tell us that this is the unknowable real creator. Jacob wrestled with that, Moses saw that, Isaiah saw that, Job saw that. Then there is the other one who we are told is a spirit, John 4:24, and is invisible, Colossians 1:15. What's going on? What's going on? When they say whom no one has seen, but Jesus said, if you have seen me, you have seen the Father. Now we know why our ancestors in the pyramid text left a note for us to read, to understand, and to imbibe. Where we are reading now, it says, I am the unknown one, who emerges from the depths, nameless before the beginning of names, formless before form was conceived. My essence is potential, not substance. Pyramid text 477. The faith of billions is now their fatal spell, blinding them into oblivion. The fatal spell that blinds billions comes through a lot of evidence. When one sifts the information, one is the version of a God who is not a man, and that he does not lie, and that he doesn't change. Yet this God has deceived even Jeremiah the prophet. This God has even sent the spirit of deception, of lying, in the mouths of all the prophets. This God has decreed death to other people. And then this God has cast a spell and a strong delusion. If you read 2 Thessalonians 2:11, it says, for this reason God sends them a powerful delusion, so that they will believe the lie. There it is. He says he can send a spell, a powerful delusion, to those that have accepted him, as well as those that have not accepted him. You have to escape this powerful delusion. You must know that idolatry of the mind is where this idol is set to sit. The Abrahamic religions claim to reject physical idols. Exodus 20:4-5, where it says, do not make for yourselves an idol or any likeness of anything in the heavens above, or earth beneath, or water under the earth. While at the same time they construct elaborate mental idols, anthropomorphic gods with human-like desires, moods, and body parts. Jesus taught about lust, Matthew 5:28, which proves the point that sin begins in the mind, sometimes ends in the mind. Yet the Abrahamic traditions rarely apply this logic to their own conceptual idol, God. Billions of women and men shout, I love you, Jesus, thinking that they love God, yet they are loving an idol and they are engaged in idolatry. Same with those who say, hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord alone. You shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your might. Keep these words that I am commanding you today in your heart. What about you? What about you? That's idolatry. Because this God that you are supposed to keep in your heart is El. That's his nomen proprium, personal name. That's where it came from. And this God can be seen by eyes. It was seen by people. If you read Exodus 24:10, they saw him, they describe him. Yet the real creator is beyond form or shape. No human being who walks on the earth can know and describe the real creator, because we are not made to understand. Read our book, Free from God. The real creator is nameless. He's not a spirit. He's not a being. No one has ever seen or heard from the real creator. It's a delusion. It's a spell to think otherwise. If lusting after a woman is adultery of the heart, then reducing God to a father, to a king, to a spirit with human traits like wrath, love, and jealous is idolatry of the mind or the spirit. It projects human psychology onto the divine. Churches, prayers, and rituals, no matter how transcendent they claim to be, objectify the divine into symbols, words, and rituals. This is precisely what our ancient African sages warned us against, that we should not confuse the map religion for the territory, the nameless, the remote one who is beyond. The real creator is not jealous. The real creator is not wrathful. The real creator is not love. We don't know. That's the truth. All these traits mirror human rulers who demand worship, prayers, sacrifices, and obedience. Send people to war to die, to appease them, or to appease some policy, or to appease a certain deity. Anyone who claims revelation, anyone who claims to know God's will, despite their supposed transcendence, is simply telling us about a deity in their brain, or in their heart, or in their consciousness. This is the heart of our argument. The real creator is truly beyond being a spirit or person. Every Abrahamic doctrine is a fabrication. God, Allah, Jesus, these are deities, not the real creator. The real creator is not a spirit or a being, is nameless. Therefore, Allah is a name, nomen proprium of the Arabic God. And they tell us that Allah is beyond comprehension. At the same time, they tell us that he has a face, that he has hands, that he looks like the person with body parts. This is a contradiction. If Allah is truly beyond form, is truly beyond space and likeness, then any ascription of body parts or spatial location is a logical impossibility. They claim that these are metaphors, collapses even within the Quran itself, which insists that it is clear. Therefore, a hand is a hand. There's no two ways about that. Therefore, Allah is not the true source beyond existence. Is not the real creator. Is a deity because he has a name. Here is the razor-edged truth. The real creator is the annihilation of knowing. It cannot be prayed to, cannot be bribed, cannot be carved into a stone or drawn into a picture. To cling to God as a concept is to strangle the infinite with the twine of human ego. Every ritual, every hymn, every theological argument is a parlor trick performed by the terrified to avoid straying into the cosmic maw. What do they worship? Is a puppet, is a scarecrow draped in human fears and desires. Meanwhile, the true void, raw, ravenous, radiant, grins in the dark, unbothered by the ants building temples in its shadow. Wake up. The fatal spell is your comfort if you believe in such a deity. The moment you claim to know, you have murdered the mystery. Bend the scriptures, shatter the idols, let language itself bleed out on the altar of the unspeakable. Only then, in the screaming silence beyond words, might you glimpse the teeth of the real, not God, but the gaping that reduces all human certainty to ash. This is not spirituality. This is not philosophy. This is not knowledge. This is not wisdom. This is the first lie you must gut out, is the one you call truth. If you are interested in learning more If you are interested to know how you can escape the fatal spell that blinds billions, join our Bantu University, where we expand, enhance, and explore these topics. Just like our ancestors taught us that Mutusina Zita as a term was used to symbolize the Unknowable real creator. Again, the African wonder in Temple of Dendera says, I am the nameless one who cannot be named, the formless essence existing beyond all conception, the great silence before sound, the darkness before light. Yes, subscribe to Hamiti Hebrew Ethics YouTube channel, like our video, share, leave a comment, and also enroll into Bantu University to study with us many of these subjects. It's nice to meet you today. May the gods protect, imbue, enrich, and sustain everyone who is searching for such knowledge. For more information, I'm your manager to Preacher Rabbi LM Jakanja of Marfado Family Network. You can visit us and send us an email on join@marfado.com. Ameni, ameni, amen ra.